In this issue of Video Fashion, we give you the essential runway recap from around the globe. We'll hit on all the major trends of autumn-winter 2005-06.
I think the strongest trend to come out of this season is a certain new austerity.
As well as the must-have accessories of the season.
It's all about the framed bag.
We'll bring you the red carpet scoop when high fashion meets Hollywood at the CFDA Awards.
It's always a great night, but for some reason there seems to be a lot more energy. For some reason I feel it.
We'll give you the fashion and beauty news from the front lines of New York, London, Milan, and Paris. Plus, meet 4 of our favorite new models. Each season, there is less talk of trends and more about fashion's focus on individual designers. When it comes to the best collections, it's a very simple formula.
For my eye, the best collections are very simple, very straightforward. You're not looking at a supermodel, you're not looking at theatrics, you're just looking at really beautiful, chic clothes.
In Milan, I think there was quite a somber, sort of severe, quite stark mood at times, and a lot of black.
A dark thread wove its way through the collections this season. Black was back.
We've seen a lot of color, but we've really seen a lot more black than we have in previous seasons.
But black wasn't just a dark and moody hue on the Pantone palette. This time, the somber shade ushered in the new sobriety that many designers showed for fall.
A lot of people are talking about a new sobriety, or a little bit more conservative, a little bit more subdued. But I like to think of it a little bit more romantic and a little bit more below the surface. So it's sort of the idea of what's underneath everything, sort of like very poetic to me in a way.
I think the strongest trend to come out of this season is a certain new austerity, and it's an austerity in terms of embellishment. We're not seeing the beading we used to see. We're not seeing kind of flashy trims and details. But it's luxurious fabrics and luxurious materials cut into quite discreet, quite refined, quite grown-up clothes.
This season, a focused use of volume allowed designers to offset romantic notions with subtle sexiness. If a blouson top billowed gently, then you would be guaranteed the lower half was left lean.
Well, I definitely think with every collection there's been a play of proportion. I mean, is it big on the top? Is it voluminous on the bottom? Is it, that's a huge, huge story.
The volume in Paris, I think, is more confined to sleeves, capes, blouson tops, big shoulders, rather than being volume necessarily in skirts, as it was perhaps more so in Milan.
Wannabe Anna Kareninas will have their day this season. Dramatic Russian princess styles took a hold of the runway. Rich embellished looks evoke snow-swept Siberian plains.
We had the whole bohemian, Russian, whatever you want to call it, rich bohemian, wonderful clothes for the person who wants a little more excitement in their clothes and wants to express their own self and their own statement.
It's still vaguely Eastern with some Russian influence. Certainly wasn't as ethnic inspired as spring was. I mean, I always have a little soft spot for that Russian thing because a beautiful coat and a ruffled blouse has a lot of drama, and that definitely influenced Oscar and a number of other designers, but it wasn't overt. It was quite subtle.
It seemed like lots of designers had 70s era it girl Edie Sedgwick on the brain this season.